Hey there. It's Esther Goldstein, and I just had a really great conversation with someone, and I would love to hear your input or your thoughts on this. Someone was sharing with me about her thinking about getting um, something done to make herself look prettier, feel more confident about herself. And the conversation then gets shifted towards as human beings, we all want to feel comfortable in our skin, but we also really want to be liked by other people because at the end of the day, we're social creatures. And we all, yearn for a sense of acceptance, belonging, and like we have our own snuggly little cozy spot in this world, right? In our relationships, in our families, and in society as a whole, right? Like in the community, on the block, at work. And so we were talking about how, so many times people won't realize or don't realize, the invitations or the blockages that they have. And so, the conversation turned to the fact that sometimes someone might be very interested in developing relationships, be it a love relationship, be it friendships, but they're not getting those relationships. And many times what the person might not realize and if they're lucky or if they're committed to realizing there's some blockage, they do realize is that there's some kind of stuck point. I've had the humble honor of being able to work with some people in really processing through some of those stuck points. Sometimes it's a negative belief, like I'm not worthy. Sometimes it's a fear of, if they get to know me, they will think I am, gross or I don't have anything to offer, right? Like sometimes there's so many different things that play. Or it could be a feeling of like I'm invisible, never visible in relationships, or whatever it might be. And sometimes working through, or many times I would say, working with that belief that the person is carrying on a body based level without even consciously realizing really allows that to shift. And then, they can interact with the same person a few months later. And, that same person might be like, hey, how are you? And there's just so much more of that openness. So sometimes when it comes to relationship dynamics or wanting to feel beautiful in your skin and in yourself and with other people, I'm not giving an opinion about what I think about people, making changes to their body. Everybody makes that choice for themselves, right? Of course, I think that the healthiest thing is to be able to find a way of self-love and inner peace. But I guess if we go internal, if we look inside, then there are times when we can open up the doors inside and other people suddenly, and they might not even realize what it is, say like, I want to get to know you. This feels so warm. Spending time with you feels so warm. And a lot of that is because you did the shift or this person did a shift and really allowing more emotional connectivity and space for a person. So just a tip in case like you or a loved one or someone is struggling socially or is having a hard time. Obviously, there's different dynamics and relationships and social structures. That's one piece. There's definitely a practical piece. There's definitely a piece of, learning social skills and being able to implement, assertiveness and boundary setting and things like that. And at the same time, there might be some kind of emotional blockage. And it could be the same thing with your child. Your child might be angry or upset or, socially something's going on. Sometimes or many times, we want to work with the external world, developing those skills. And at the very same time, there can be this real healing and shift that happens when we do the internal work. And that's why we have clinicians at our practice, including myself, where, we definitely help clients work with skills, but we also really work on, the internal work because when we shift our internal work, people pick up on that. And it's fascinating and actually exciting to see how, there's subtle shifts and sometimes not so subtle when it comes to people doing their own internal work, working past certain fears or worries, or even just acknowledging them, right? When you notice something, you're not in denial anymore, and then it doesn't have as much of an intensity and a charge, and then there's so much more space to like connect and be playful and notice things, right? So working with your internal world of, worries, hopes, wishes, fears, um, either with art therapy, either with talk therapy, with EMDR, with some of the mind body somatic work, with dance movement, whatever methods. We have really creative methods at our practice, really helps shift things. So I just wanted to hop on because it was a great conversation. I loved it. A few years ago, if someone told this to me, I would be like, what are you talking about? But I've obviously like learned a lot. I'm just a humble learner, just like all of you, learning about, how so much of our own internal world really makes a difference in how people experience us and how, we are able to, either set boundaries or allow certain kind of love in our lives and connections So I'm saying this because you have more power and capacity than you might realize you have. Of course, there's things out of your control, and at the same time, you may be able to make a shift internally that can really impact a few aspects of your life. So let's just a little tidbit. I hope it can be helpful for someone who's listening or someone in your life. And I wish you a wonderful day. If you haven't yet signed up for our mailing list, we're actually going to be sending out content about some self-help tips, some downloads, some knowledge, because knowledge is power. So sign up, check out our website, integrativepsych.co. I'll link it below. Sign up for our mailing list that's linked in the link tree, and you will be getting wisdom and insight and learn along with us as we do this thing called life. And if there's any topic you want to be addressed or any information you're curious about, shoot us an email and we'll do our best to incorporate that in one of the next topics that are coming up.